Now we have Danielle from App Annie, a data provider, because internet is very measurable, or mobile is measurable. Please, be so kind. And you want to know how many users you have, and you probably know, but you don't necessarily know how many users your competitors have. And I think Google at some point switched off Ad Planner, which was a tool we used as bankers a lot. And yeah, now App Annie, of course, you cannot do business development without App Annie anymore. Danielle, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you based?
So I'm based out of our San Francisco headquarter office, and we have offices in 9 countries, including one here in Berlin.
Wonderful. And if you describe App Annie's service, what are you actually doing? So the company is relatively old. I think you acquired at some point a business called Flurry, I think like 8 years ago or something, the competitor?
Not them. There was a company, Distimo, that we had acquired a number of years ago. But we started in 2010, actually out of Beijing, with a couple of European founders. But our business ultimately is to deliver the best quality mobile data estimates and analytics to help publishers, brands, and investors make smarter decisions. And for those that have mobile businesses and deliver experiences directly to end users, to really use this data to have the most compelling experiences for your customers.
So in a way, you're like the Nielsen of mobile internet.
I think that's probably the easiest analogy to make it click.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a banker. I like to think so. So we have many, many startups here, I think over 2,000. And I often hear from them, it's very, very tough to get your app visible in the App Store. It's a market question, but I didn't want to miss it, so that's why I asked it the second. But what do you think a startup could do to get good visibility in the App Store when financial resources are tight?
So I think there's a couple key things. I think from an overall business perspective, anything about your own app that leverages the network effect, so whether it's referrals, whether it's partnerships, that can also help drive things related to PR, that matters, I think, to get some overall initial buzz going. But in terms of action you can take within the app stores, there's something called ASO. So I'm sure most people that have been in the internet space know SEO, search engine optimization. Well, App Store optimization is akin to that in the app stores. And getting organically ranked is critical. And so it's literally the name of your app, the description of your app, the app creatives that you have in the app stores. All of these things matter. Your ratings and reviews matter. So make sure it's not glitchy and it works well. Encourage reviews. And if you're able to start spending on paid UA, you can use it judiciously in order to help boost your organic ranks in concert with that paid activity.
It sounds like you want to get the basics right.
Absolutely.
Before you start spending money, so you scale a healthy base.
Exactly.
And do you have a white paper about this on your website, for example?
So we do. We have a number of app marketing playbooks and mobile marketing playbooks. So we actually updated one around ASO actually just in the last week. But there's a number of resources. I encourage folks to check out our blog, whether it's what's happening in the overall mobile market to strategy pieces and execution pieces that can really help.
Fantastic. So App Annie is a data provider, and it's a SaaS platform.
Correct.
When I was a board member at Badu, I used it quite frequently. Can you get the data anywhere else?
So today it is direct from App Annie. We have not yet gone into partnerships for selling. So, and our customers have access both through a web interface, through a mobile app, through API. So there are a number of ways to get access.
Just to give everyone an idea, if you look at the top 500 American and European app developers, what's the percentage of the customers you have there, roughly?
So in essence, one out of every two sort of publishers use App Annie in some way, shape, or form. And if you look at the overall top, over 90% of the top publishers are App Annie customers.
90%. So you're really an industry standard. And once they're a customer, do they also give you data, or you source all your data through panels?
We have a range of different methodologies. So we have an analytics platform that publishers use to, dashboard what's happening within the app stores, within ad networks that we provide freely. But we also have our own panel. We leverage data from app stores. So there's really a range of inputs that we leverage. And then our data science is, I'd argue, one of the best kept secrets in the industry that help us create really accurate estimates from what's happening in installs to active users to ad creatives that are showing up in different ad networks.
When you are the market leader, we don't like to talk too much about competition, but just to put everything in context, who would you say is like the second most important players?
I think it depends on where within the mobile space you're talking about. If you're looking at the app space in particular, we estimate we have, roughly 80% share.
Similar web?
So we launched a mobile web product in March, and I think as we did that, we now have new competitors. So
Right.
ComScore had some app data, but not too much. But when you get into mobile web, you'll see ComScore, you'll see similar web. So our competitive set broadened for sure with that launch.
You started with a tough one, the app, and now you added mobile web.
Correct.
Let's talk about mobile web. What is the future of mobile data consumption? Will it be continues to be app-driven, or HTML5 is rumored to take market share? I mean, I know it from myself. I have I think 280 apps, and I'm using maybe 10, and they're just hanging there. And at some point, I delete it when my phone is full. It's a bit of an annoying experience. You started in the app world, so you're a little bit biased, but what is your view? You now entered mobile web.
Okay, so there is some bias, but we also went into mobile web for a reason. We recognize that it can be a really important on-ramp for a consumer to engage with a given brand. And for certain verticals, like retail, for example, it's a very logical place for consumers to go until they have a strong affinity and then they install the app. The conversions, the basket sizes, and so forth are much stronger in apps, so there's a real reason to make sure that you're doing a great job on both. But what I would give you some quick stats. So on average, globally, people spend about 3 hours a day on their mobile phone between app and mobile web. In Europe, it's closer to 2.5. In certain emerging markets like Indonesia, it's like 4 because they're leapfrogging. It's the only digital platform for many consumers. In the US, it's closer to 3. And of that, 51 minutes of every hour is spent in app versus mobile web.
Huh.
And that hasn't materially changed. It's ticked up maybe a minute over the course of the last 2 years
So it's
to
mostly apps.
It's mostly apps.
80% more or less.
So lots of MAU on web, but in terms of real engagement and time spent and ultimately conversions, so much of that is happening on the whole in app.
Maybe just thinking loud here. Maybe you use Facebook and
I know where you're going with that. And what I would say is, if you look at the
long
apps we
tail
use,
might be still mobile web, no?
there's still a ton. There is, I'm sure, a lot of opportunity in long tail and mobile web. But you mentioned your 280 apps. The average consumer has between 80 and 100 apps on their phone, and they use between 35 and 40 every month.
Oh, wow.
And about 10 per day. So think about it. From the morning you wake up, in the morning, you're using it potentially for everything from checking the weather, your transit, ordering food, right? You have productivity apps on there. There is social on there. There's news. There's entertainment. You're checking your banking. You're transferring money. You're checking your travel arrangements. You think about how you use it over the course of a day and a month, and you start to get why it's not just 10 that you're using.
Now, they're about to legalize cannabis, and I guess one of the reasons is that with all the AI coming and having so many people who have more times on their hand, we want to keep them busy. Computer games are also a wonderful way to waste time, right? And I was astonished that a few years ago, I think 60% of the app usage was mostly related to games. Are people still playing so much?
So games is huge, especially on the monetization side in mobile. So 74 cents of every dollar spent in the app stores is on games.
Really?
But if you look at that time spent back to that 3 hours, it's only 10% of our time is spent in games overall. Obviously, you're going to have some people that are harder core gaming and spending more, but on average across, the couple billion plus mobile users in the world, it's 10% of our time. That means, and then you're looking at, anywhere between 30 and 50 on social and communications apps, which then means there's about 40% for shopping, for fintech, for travel, for shopping, for I guess sort of any other dating apps are huge. I mean, you name it. I guess cannabis.
Yeah, I was on Bumble on the board of Bumble, which is the Badoo company.
But dating's been huge.
But it's interesting. So the games, the most trivial part of the app world, I guess, because it's kind of not real, are monetizing the best, while productivity apps, etc. I mean, we have quite a few coming already. They're starting to monetize well. Let's talk about VC monetization. What is the plan for App Annie? There have been all these like amazing IPOs, Uber, etc. They all went public. Is App Annie going to go public at some point? How many? You have 100 million revenues.
We had 100 million in ARR, and we're EBITDA positive, and we're plowing every dollar of profit back into the business, especially in the R&D side, so that we can further accelerate our growth. We want every option and door open to us, including IPO.
Okay, wonderful, Danielle.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really
Pleasure.
appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Thank you.